we doing, guys? Good.
Alex, maybe just what's it like preparing this week with the status of Drake kind of up in the air and him being limited?
Yeah, it's a little different, but it's nothing that we're not used to. We're used to next man up mentality, so we got to go in a little open-minded as far as putting the plan together.
Alex, do you know if he's progressed in any way from being in phase 3 of the protocol?
Yeah, I'm not going to discuss injured players. That's my stance on that. He is in the protocol. I let the training staff handle all of that. He did show up yesterday at practice, did some limited things on the field, and that's about where I'll leave it. Hopefully, he's progressing. Very hopeful that things keep going in the way they're trending. But again, that's not my area.
Do you expect him to be at practice again today?
I have to wait and see what the medical staff says. I know there's some testing this morning, see how that comes back. But hopeful again.
Alex, you mentioned it was limited yesterday. How did he look in the limited time?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about injured players. He came out, did some work on the field. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks.
Just given the uncertainty, do you anticipate maybe more on the play sheet just to give yourself more variability?
Yeah, I think there's always variation there. You got to protect yourself just, in case of those scenarios. So there's definitely things that I think both our quarterbacks would feel comfortable in operating.
Just a quick follow-up on that. I was curious if in the game last week, does that create a tough situation for you?
Yeah, it's not tough. It's just you got to adapt and adjust as the game goes on. Jacoby was awesome. I thought he did a great job stepping in. Made some huge plays down the stretch with his legs and his arm. Got us into some great audibles at the line of scrimmage versus pressure looks. So really proud of the way he stepped up. Like any other time, if a starter goes down, you have to adjust. So getting on the same page with him. Oftentimes the starting quarterback will rank his favorite third downs. They may not be the same as the backup. So, circling back with Jacoby, asking him what he felt comfortable about in situational football was definitely something we addressed Sunday.
Drake last week, he had 3 runs in just, I think, a quarter that he played. Unfortunately, one of them ended in a concussion. Do you have any discussions with him about the volume that he's running or anything like that?
You'd hate to take that away from a player. That's a strength of his ability to move out of the pocket. The one thing we talked about was being safe in the slide. Oftentimes you get into space and you feel like you're clean and you can go feet first, which is what we coach in open space. But again, you never know what's coming behind. So the quarterbacks that avoid injury oftentimes will find a soft place by going head first and just getting down in that regard. So something we continue to work with him, just understanding of what's around you in those situations. But ultimately, we go into every game asking him to protect the ball and protect himself, and that goes for every quarterback.
What have you seen from him? It seems like he's one of the most reliable receivers you have right now.
Just an ultimate pro. Does it the right way. Has a really good knack of route running. Working leverages how to get himself open, and obviously makes great plays on the football. The ball skills were huge in that 2-minute drive. The corner route that he caught on the sideline was his biggest play in any of the game. I felt just consistency. Really the tight end room has been excellent this year in all aspects, run and pass. I think Hooper's a guy that's undershadowed a little bit. Does a lot of the dirty work in the run game, blocking those edge guys, and so I'm really happy with the way that room's going right now. And we lean on them. It's a veteran room. We're a young team, so those are guys that we lean on for leadership.
Now, it's just to kind of follow up on Drake's scrambling. We haven't seen you guys run any designed run plays for him to this point. Is it because there'll be a handful of scrambles every game and you're trying to limit hits, or is there another reason why no designed runs?
Just for that reason. I think I've been in systems where you have quarterback runs and I've led to injury, season-ending injury. So I know the value of that position. High leverage situations, 4th and 1 game on the line maybe, but he's going to make enough plays outside the pocket, in a normal drop back game or play action game where he scrambles. So, again, ultimately it's that balance of, protecting your quarterback. I have to protect him as well as him protecting himself.
Gerard has been very blunt in his assessment of the wide receivers, especially in the wake of Sunday's game. Where do you stand on that group and where they are?
Yeah, they're disappointed. There's no question. That's a group that, that we expect more out of. Just handling the football, I think, is the biggest thing. Drops come in bunches, catches come in bunches. So, my message to them was to keep working. You're lifelong receivers. You catch the ball for a living, so it's nothing new to you guys. So just, focus on the next rep, focus on how I get better during the week of practice. Ultimately, we're going to, throw the ball to those guys. They're going to make plays for us moving forward. They're disappointed as anybody, in the way they handled the ball Sunday, but expect better out of them for sure, and so do they.
I know he's only in the game for a quarter, but what kind of progress did you see out of Drake last week when he was in the game?
Yeah, I mean, he's, again, just getting better every week. Decision making's exceptional. He knows where to go with the football. Some of the stuff he does in practice, understanding where he's going to be hot and how to handle some of the pressure issues, that gets better every week. The throws down the field in practice, the accuracy that he shows down the field on some of the deeper balls, that's been there. It continues to be there. So just the maturation of a young quarterback, just finding something to get better at every week. Thought there were some areas that he could improve on from the London game, and we addressed those during the week and expect to see those show up as we continue.
Alex Gerard mentioned yesterday that the Titans, Denard Wilson's an unpredictable defensive play caller. Can you just expound upon that from what you studied this
There's a lot in their system. He does a really nice job of not really giving you a clear target in any of the areas, so you're kind of just Rolodexing through calls. It feels like he does a nice job of keeping it balanced, where you can't just say, hey, I know we're going to get this coverage on this down and distance. He rolls through those. So you got to do a good job in your preparation. You got to make sure there's plenty of options versus all the multiple looks that we're going to see. Their pressure package is good as well. So, the defenses from the days 15, 20 years ago have gotten extremely complex. We have to evolve with that.
Is tempo something you can do to combat that?
It can be, yeah. At certain times, oftentimes we jumped in some tempo in the game, got some runs in tempo. They weren't huge plays, but I think the longer you could make that defense defend at the line of scrimmage without substituting, and they start to wear down and see some of those runs and that pass rush production dies later in the game. So tempo is definitely something that we can go into at any time.
Hendrick Warren's a player who immediately after the game posted on social media saying, like, I'll be better in New England. What's it like to have a guy like that who's like taking that accountability and just like, is willing to accept that and say it out loud?
Yeah, he's a great leader. His energy is infectious, as we said before. The accountability, that's what we're looking for. Nobody more disappointed than he was with his drops, and that's something I know he'll work as hard as he possibly can to make sure it doesn't happen again. Will it happen again? It might, but again, he's a receiver. He's been catching his whole life. So go out and trust your hands, and then do what you do for a living.
Is Kayshon Boutte someone who's maybe starting to emerge for you as a more consistent performer?
Absolutely. I think the last 4 weeks of his play has been exceptional. Really, he's making plays on the ball down the field. Huge play, probably the biggest play of the game in the 2-minute drive to catch that post. Great job by Jacoby hanging in that pocket and throwing with the guy hanging on his waist. But Kayshon's a guy that continues to improve each week, and now he's becoming one of our most consistent guys.
What's it say about Kayshon, obviously having the early drops, for being able to bounce back and making those plays later?
That's the mindset. That's really, the next play mentality. Short memory at all positions, especially after a couple drops, to see him come up with 2 big catches in that final drive. That they're not the final drive, but the last 2 drives, those were 2 of the biggest plays in the game. So hats off to him for battling through, fighting through the adversity and staying resilient.
Alex, so we've seen the pass protection be a little bit better in the last couple of weeks. Just what do you kind of attribute that to?
Just working. I think the work, again, the techniques that we teach and they use, now they're becoming more ingrained and becoming habits. Really proud of the way they protected. We had 2 sacks. They weren't real sacks, in my opinion. I didn't think those were on the offensive line. We had places to go with the ball. One was a really 3rd and long situation. So I'm really proud of those guys. I gave them a 0-sack day.
With the win last week, what Jacoby was able to do, how much do you sense the belief and confidence growing in both quarterbacks, no matter who's in there now?
I think that's the mindset. It really is. And hats off to Jacoby again to get himself ready to come in and win that game with 3 third-down conversions, one to use his legs on. I mean, that's big-time football. I think as a team and as a group, we're getting better. And that's what we talked about early in the season. How do we get better, play our best football as the season progresses, not take steps back. And I think we've been moving forward. So I'm really happy with our progress. And, it's not where we need it to be by any stretch, but I think we're playing some better football than we have earlier in the season.
Thanks, Alex.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.